Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another phenomenal episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. I am your host, that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching. Where's he going next? Nobody knows. 4 continents down, 2 more to go. No cap, straight facts, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But forget about that. It's not about me. You see, we have a special guest tonight. You see, we have a one-of-a-kind guest, to borrow RVD's stick from his theme song. This man is actually making a name for himself in professional wrestling. He is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And for the first time ever, he is the son of one of our alumni guests who is a gear maker. That's right. Shout out to, DD Wrestling Gear, DD Pro Wrestling Gear. My apologies. I got the Instagram handle wrong. This man is actually also a tag team specialist, a two-time tag team champion, former Classic City Wrestling tag team champion, and he's battled some of our own alumni guests such as the Northside Heroes and Parker Lee. Everybody, welcome to the show, the evolved, the product, Duncan Mitchell, Avecilla, DMA. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How are we doing tonight?
Just here, enjoying this nice warm afternoon / evening in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
I know it's much warmer down there in Georgia.
Oh yeah, no, it was pretty warm today. It's starting to feel like spring down here.
That's why I live. That's what I miss, living in the South, man. I mean, you guys, missing those warm days during December and January. I used to live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yeah, it's really nice down here. The only thing I would complain about during this time of the year, like the bugs start coming back.
Oh yeah. It's good and bad, You got the fireflies, but then you have the crickets that start chirping. It's time to get inside and all that. So yeah, I know how it is. So I gotta ask you, man, how did it all start for you? How did you become a fan of pro wrestling? What was the match or the main event?
Man, I have been a fan of pro wrestling ever since I was small. Like, it was a big fixture in my household when I was a kid. I remember, obviously tuning in, watching Kurt Angle on TV. That was like the earliest wrestler that I could probably remember. But growing up, it was Batista. That was my guy, Big Dave Batista. Okay. That was like my GOAT when I was a kid. And I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. Like, it was like the boyhood dream. But at the same time, I remember being total lies. Like, oh, you're a little bit small to be a wrestler. That doesn't seem realistic, because I didn't fit that superhero build that the wrestlers of the time had. And of course, back then, I had no idea about Japan or Ring of Honor or the independent scene in general. I remember back when there was a bit of a dry spell where I didn't watch wrestling for a while, but I remember, because a friend of mine, when we were kids, we used to watch TNA a lot together. I remember seeing on the news Samoa Joe and AJ Styles were debuting for WWE. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. I want to check that out again. I start noticing guys that I've never gotten to see or work before, like Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn. Finn Balor was a big inspiration for me to be a pro wrestler, because I looked at him, I'm like, that guy is something I could be. I could be close to that guy. And I obviously started getting more into the product outside of the WWE, both with Ring of Honor and New Japan, PWG at the time, just getting to see all these guys work. And that kind of reinvigorated my passion for the product. And I committed myself as I think I can do this. I think I have a shot at this, not just because obviously I've studied martial arts my entire life. That's where some of the natural athleticism probably came in. That made it a little easier for me to adapt to pro wrestling. when I broke into the business, but I remember it was that kind of like resurgence in my passion for wrestling that really solidified that this was something that I wanted to do with my life, that this was a career that I wanted to pursue.
Right, right. You mentioned how people say you're not that big to be in pro wrestling. I'd like to say, that's why I say we always need, other promotions like New Japan Pro Wrestling. You need places like, even AEW,
Yeah.
because WWE, and I'm not trying to knock WWE, but they have always been,
Well,
I
there's
guess,
that hype, and
yeah,
there's obviously you can argue that we're not in the Vince McMahon era anymore, but because that company has been that company, there's always going to be that like hangover of the idea that, hey, like if you want to be a superstar, you got to look like a John Cena in his prime, or a Roman Reigns, or like even an Obafemi, just like this big mountain of a dude. And I do understand the psychology behind it being like, yeah, I see guys like that, and it's like, okay, yeah, they could beat somebody up, and like if I'm a little kid, I'd probably want to buy an action figure of the big muscle dude. But at the same time, like, can't say that's entirely the case nowadays. Like, again, you have those guys like Ilya Dragunov that have come into the business that are relatively smaller compared to some of the guys that we may watch growing up, but like at the same time, the fans want to see this kid because, dude, he tears it up when he goes in there. He's brilliant, you know what I'm saying? And the way he goes in there is believable. He's murdering dudes. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah,
Like, but and also like what you brought up, AEW. Like AEW is a good spot just because I think they really play into like the diversity of what their pool of talent can do. You have those power guys in there, but at the same time, you guys got guys like Hangman. You have Darby Allin, you've got Ricochet, you've got Swerve Strickland, you've got a very capable and just unique roster over there that makes it its own different animal, I think.
yeah. Yeah, I've always, I know people have differing opinions about promotions and everything, but I enjoy it. I'm glad for the presence of AEW. Because like I said, that's another spot for, men and women like yourself in
Yeah.
the professional wrestling industry, another place where y'all could make a living, make money. I don't care. This is gonna sound weird. I don't care where somebody goes. I'm just glad they were able to make it on TV, get paid, and get that exposure, because I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm just a mere fan. But at the same time, I have a pretty good idea of how tough it could be for, those y'all in the business, traveling,
For sure.
miles, even not even by airplane, by car, just to get that booking. Hopefully, it's the one that has somebody going, hey, let's give that person a try. Let's have that person, come into our, promotion, and let's give them some shine, and hopefully also a bigger paycheck as well too. So, I'm just glad that they thrive. I hope, I'm not the one hoping that actually gets more off the ground is MLW, and yeah, I'm very grateful for AEW, actually existing.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Like it
actually
keeps
fun.
it.
Go ahead, my bad.
No. I was just gonna say, look, it just broadens the opportunities that we have
Yeah,
in the business. It's no longer just like, hey, this is the place you got to go. If you make it, you make it. No. Like there are a lot of different ways that you can be successful in this business, and that's a beautiful thing right
yeah,
now.
yeah. As a matter of fact, fun fact, we mentioned AEW. One of your good friends, I don't know if you know him. I don't know if you should remember, a guy by the name of Diamond Sheik. I saw his
Yeah, Chic.
I saw his brother on there in a Scooby Doo outfit, and we have another segment called 15 Minutes of Fandom, where we interview wrestling fans as well too. And I saw him in the crowd. We saw him in the crowd one day, and we were like, "Who's that guy in a Scooby Doo outfit?" And we were like, who was that guy? Let's try to get him on the show. We want to know what his story is. He seems like a cool guy. Get him on the show. That wasn't Diamond Sheik, that was his brother, but he told him that he has two other brothers that watch wrestling. There's like three of them. So I'm like, okay, let's get the whole family on, get Diamond Sheik on. And he was on 50 Minutes of Phantom. And then we're like, okay, cool. He's a great guy to have on the show. Then he messages us and tells us, hey, I'm going to be training to become a wrestler. I'm going to Nightmare Factory, which is Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall's wrestling school. So I'm like, okay, awesome, cool. Best of luck. Whenever you make your debut, let us know, and we'll have you on here, and we'll talk about that debut. Does it? He shows us he's working on the gym, weightlifting and everything. He's like, hey, I made my debut, man. We graduated. I'm like, awesome, congrats. Let's make it happen, man. And then he showed me and I saw a picture of him with the graduating class. I was like, hold on, Sheik. You're locked in, but we just want to do us one more favor. Send us all the Instagram handles for those who were in that class. We want to talk to all of them. I feel like, it'd feel bad if we talk just one. Give everybody a shot, man. Everybody that's interested. And that's how we end up from that. That's how it started with the whole thing. I don't know if you noticed our past.
I've noticed some of it. Like I'm very familiar with a lot of your alumni on this show. I'm good friends with a lot of those guys.
Yeah. So that's how that whole thing started. And we even had Caleb Tandy, who is he's watching on Instagram. I don't know if he's still watching on Instagram, but he said big Duncan energy. Unfortunately, we can't highlight the comments because Instagram doesn't let us. But yeah, he said big Duncan energy with a fire emoji. So that's how we started with Nightmare Factory. And yeah, you guys are doing great work down there, by the way. So speaking of Nightmare Factory, how did that all happen? What was it like, training there?
Okay. So I won't go too deep into the specifics of this, but I remember getting out of the Air Force, coming back to work in Atlanta. I worked at Lakewood Amphitheater for a good second there, and it just so happened that my manager, my GM at the time, had a connect to pro wrestling, just through him being in the entertainment business. So I remember I was talking with my dad. And he's like, listen, if you're serious about doing this, you may want to go talk to him, because if there was ever a shot to even be involved, that's the one you want to make. So I went to his office one day. I'm like, look, I don't want any favors, like in terms of like getting booked somewhere. That I'm not even close to that. What I would like though is just, can you point me in the right direction of where to go train to be a pro wrestler? Because if I'm going to be a pro wrestler, I want to do this the right way. I don't want to just be some guy who watched the product and was like, oh yeah, I saw that on TV, I can do that. No, I wanted to be good at this before I even stepped out in front of a crowd. And I remember the two options were the WWA 4 and what was at the time the Power Factory, which obviously is now the Nightmare Factory. I spoke with QT over the phone. He said, yeah, come in one day. I met him. We sat down. We had a conversation. He's like, so obviously I spoke to your friend. We're going to give you 2 weeks just to see if you can fit in, This was before Cody even started doing the camp. So it was like, I was essentially, I don't want to say trying out to be a part of the night class, but that during that 2-week little trial, I did kind of have to prove if like this was the right spot for me to be in. And I was able to thankfully adapt pretty quickly to it. Just to be even considered like trainable. Like I definitely, it was different. It was a very different animal from like obviously Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and just how you're conditioning yourself and just like getting used to running those ropes and bumping in the ring. That was a a shock. Like you always hear, oh yeah, like it's not a trampoline, but like when you get in for the first time, you realize it's like, okay, that first bump isn't the worst, but like after the next 10 that you take, learning how to, it's like, all right, I can see why this is difficult right here. And after that 2 weeks, I was in. I was training as often as I could, just so I could work towards that debut. Within 6 or 7 months, I was ready to do my first match, which it was nothing special. It was just a over the top rope battle royal, something that was just something that could get my feet wet. I remember my next match after that, like a month or two later, was a tag team match with Trey Shaw, Sean Christopher, and Tyler Franks. That was God. That was right before COVID happened. I think that was the last match I had, obviously, until lockdown finally got released, and then it was like, okay, we're back into training. And not long after that, I started taking bookings, and here we are. Here we are to this day.
Awesome. And you've been doing very well. I mean, you've battled you and Errol Wade. You guys have a great tag team going there. You actually battled two of our other alumni, I guess, the Northside Heroes. That was an intense match. We all pulled off the win. You've actually battled several people like Parker Lee, and even as we've seen, Trey Shaw as well. And now you've actually held the CCW, the Classic City Wrestling tag team championship with Aaron Wade.
We won that in a match against the Northside Heroes. Actually, yeah, that was that match right there.
So what was it like, getting that W over a more not only getting the W over a more successful, a more established, part of my words, a more established tag team. Not saying that Northside aren't successful, they are, but
no, they're fantastic. Like, if you're going to give them their flowers, by all means, give them their flowers. They are probably one of the best tag teams I've wrestled in the state of Georgia. I'd wager not even just the Southeast, in the whole damn country. Like, that match, because we wrestled them twice. Obviously, gave them a rematch. That match, I'm trying to figure out which match was more intense between the two of us, because obviously, first night we worked each other, and I had worked against the Northside Heroes before, and like other tag teams, I've wrestled them obviously when I was a member of the Seventh Sons with Aaron Dallas. Those were a series of hard-hitting matches, but like never managed to pick up the dub against them. And when I was actually part of the No Good Bastards, that staple in Classic City, we had a bit of a feud with the Northside Heroes, and we had worked all the way into a standstill. Like the time match timed out. We went that extra 5 minutes, timed out again. That one was pretty deep, but the night me and Aaron Wade faced them, it was actually a thunderstorm that was going on. Like, thankfully, it moved far enough away that it didn't affect the show. We didn't have to cancel or stop or anything like that. But I remember, obviously, the ring is a little bit damp. It is hot. It's humid. It's muggy out there. Like, it was a different atmosphere. And obviously, we're outside in the night sky. We're surrounded by hundreds of people. Like, it was definitely one of the more hard-hitting matches I had in my career. But I would argue that the one that we had in the 40 Watt Club that next month, in Atlanta, when we wrestled at Boggs out there in the parking lot, like, the crowd was split. They they could have gone either way with who they wanted to see walk away. But like the Knobside Heroes have endeared themselves so much to the point of the CCW fans in Athens, our home base. Like that when we got to the 40 watt, man, like they were incensed that we took the belts off of these guys, and it was just a matter of it. There have been a few matches I've had in my career where I'm like, my God, this is brutal, but we're going in there and we're just trading bombs with each other for the entire time we're out there. And that match is probably my favorite tag team match that I've gotten to have in my career so far with them. And I've wrestled them a bunch. They're probably my favorite tag team that I've gotten to wrestle so far.
Cool. Yeah, and I forgot you also had that Seven Sons, you also formed the Seven Sons with Aaron Dallas, who is also a Nightmare Factory alum. So what was that? So, between you and Aaron, you guys are successful in your own way. You're former CCW tag team champions. And then, of course, you have Aaron Dallas, a fellow Nightmare Factory alumni. What would you say are there any differences between the two tag teams, or are there any similarities you see? Like, what are the similarities and differences that you've seen when teaming with either man?
Obviously, there's a very strong sense of camaraderie between both guys I've shared the ring with. I'd say the biggest similarity is like when we come together, we're motivated, we're driven, we're damn near unstoppable when it comes down to that. But like I would say there's also a ton of differences between the two tag teams. Obviously, the team of me and Dallas was formed on just this bond that we made when we met each other. We clicked. It was like we were brothers, So like that team was born from just pure friendship, and obviously nothing but love and respect for Aaron Dallas. Like he's one of those guys who is he's just strong, dude. Like the way that he has pushed himself to like improve his physique and like build his strength for being a guy his size, it's crazy. Like the dude is absolutely dedicated and driven in what he's doing. But with Aaron Wade, and I had faced Aaron Wade, I think once back in Alabama at New South. And he's always been good people. I've enjoyed Wade's company like anytime I bumped into him. But like the team there, both of us have a heavy martial arts background. So when it came down to going after those Classic City championships, it made sense that Wade would be my next tag team partner after the No Good Bastards had to disband. Like if there was a guy that I would say matched my style in a way, even though he's more of a striker and obviously I've got the grappling background, it meshed really well. And I do hope that I get tagged with him a lot more in the future as well. And maybe even get to wrestle him again, honestly, because like that match that we had was so early on in both of our careers. I would like to get in the ring with him one-on-one just to see where we're at.
Awesome, man. So another cool thing that we know about you is that you're actually the son of DD Pro Wrestling Gear, which stands for Duncan's Dad Pro Wrestling Gear, which is really cool. So I gotta ask him, what's it like being the son of a gear maker, man? Because man, that must be cool, man. You don't have to go too far. It's like, hey, Dad, or hey,
it is literally just like, hey, Dad. So I've got this idea for a new set of gear. Do you think we can make that work? And we'll sit down, we'll get together, we'll plan it out, and then he gets to work. I pick out the material that I want him to use, and he makes his magic happen. Um, like, and I remember the whole. I'm sure he probably told you this story when you had him on, but for the sake of our viewers here, when I was breaking into the business, um, I was trying to find a gear maker, and like obviously people gave me suggestions, but then I'd be like, oh, I'd hear from one person, oh, don't go to that person. I haven't got my gear in like a year, and I paid them well in advance, or like this person doesn't answer. This person is gonna charge you way too much for a product that isn't that good. We just kept on hearing horror story after horror story about like finding reliable gear makers. And my dad was like, "Oh well, ISO," and I had gotten like hand me down sets of gear from like some of the guys who had trained me when I started at the Power Factory, but um, that gear really wasn't me. So like, I remember my dad's like, "Okay, I'll make you a pair of tights. If they turn out decent, I'll keep working on making your gear for you. That way you don't have to worry about like just getting a bad set." And I remember the first set he made me. It was nothing super fancy. It was just a set of blue metallic tights. That was like my very first set of gear that he had made me. And he obviously through trial and error, he picked up really fast on how to like make good gear. And I remember he would actually go through and like study like some of the gear makers that would like share their secrets on like how to make good functioning wrestling gear online. He would look into those videos just to see how he can improve that. And I remember um I can't remember which one happened first just because they happened so close within the span of each other, but I was either at the Nightmare Factory one day showing QT my new set of gear, and just to see is like, hey, like you said I needed TV ready gear to get on Dark. Would this be good enough to go on AEW Dark? And he would give me his approval on that. But I remember a couple of the students there saw and were like, hey, like, does your dad make gear for just you, or would he be interested in doing it for like other people? And I was like, I can ask him. And that's pretty much how DD Pro Wrestling Gear started, was just making sure his kid was going to be okay and didn't get screwed over by some rando, to making gear for wrestlers that are seen on national television now, as well as across the states in the indies.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Like, but man, if I was a wrestler, my dad made gear, man. It would have been. But knowing how things would have been, knowing how my dad would have been, I probably been like, hey, pops, can I get this on that? Can I get this design? Like, you want that? You want that design?
Oh, believe me, we've had those conversations, man. Like there have been plenty of times he's like, okay, so I hate that. We're not doing that. I'm like, you don't think that would work? He's like, yeah, no, that would not. There, it like when he breaks it down, it makes sense as to why it wouldn't look good. But like there have been a few times where I'm like, come on, man, like this would be. He's like, no, we're not doing
or does
that.
he mention like, man, do you think Macho Man needed that? He just needed stripes and that was it. Ah, you kids these days, you're a whole different generation.
Like, and he's done some crazy stuff in terms of like making vests for either me or some of the other workers out there. But like there are times where, man, some of these people will hit him up with like the most impractical just concepts, and he has to just find a way to make it conventionally work where it can be functional in the ring and not look like this is just a really expensive piece of cosplay, you know?
Right. But hey,
But
sorry, go ahead.
no, my bad.
Now I was going to ask you. Speaking of AEW, you actually did make an appearance on AEW against one Anthony Ogogo. So now you're pretty much at the big time. Now you're on national TV. You've got the training, you got the look. By working out in the gym, your pops hooked you up with some fresh threads. But now you got to show them what you got on national TV. So what was your mindset? Stepping into that environment now. Were you like nervous or was nervous?
So I've got two stories for you. I remember during the lockdown era of wrestling, I actually did get to do a couple of tapings in Jacksonville for AEW. That first sort of big time match I ever got to have was not actually with Anthony Ogogo, believe it or not. It was with Colt Cabana and Evil Uno of the Dark Order.
Okay. That must have been a fun
faced them in a tag team match, and I want to say my tag team partner for that taping was Tamilian Vanish, I want to say. And that was a fun little experience. Obviously, it was nerve wracking because, like, okay, I'm in an AEW ring, and it does not matter that it's just a group of my peers on the sidelines cheering because at the time, like, no fans were allowed in the stadium. It was just wrestlers at ringside for those tapings. That's still nerve wracking because you're out there, you want to make a good impression, and get obviously asked to come back, and like it was a fine match. Tony Khan was really happy with it. He even shook my hand after the match. That was cool. But that match with a Go-Go, man, wrestling in front of a stadium that's packed full of people, that was a different experience altogether. Like, I don't think to that point in my career, I had never felt anything like that. And yeah, I obviously didn't come out on top in that match with a Go-Go, but just to be able to stand out there and feel that, to taste that, that was just another one of those key moments that solidified, yeah, this is what we're here for. This is what we're trying to do. This is where we want to be. And obviously, I'm working very hard where I'm at right now in my career, where I can go back to AEW, or I can get a WWID contract, or just go into NXT, or like, but also not even just those. I want to be able to go to Japan and work for either a New Japan or a Pro Wrestling Noah out there. I want to go to the UK and experience that style of wrestling. I want to go wrestle in Puerto Rico and Mexico. Like I like obviously, yeah, you want to make it to the big time, whether that's WWE, AEW, which whatever wrestling company you land in, those are the two places to be as far as like wrestling in America goes. But at the same time, to say that those are the only things I'd want to accomplish in my career, no, that would be silly. Like I want to experience wrestling for everything that it has to give me. But that being said, like, again, just standing out there in front of that crowd of people in that ring, there's no experience like it. Like the only thing that has ever come close to that is maybe when I've gotten to wrestle at the Eastern, which is a concert venue out in Atlanta. obviously nowhere near as big as Bojangles Stadium, but at the same time, like, again, you're out there in front of thousands of people. That's electric. That you can't compare that to anything. And like, those are the experiences that I think we look forward to most in the business. And obviously there are all kinds of other great things that happen in pro wrestling that validate why we do this. But again, just getting to be able to be on that platform, on that stage, it's the greatest feeling on earth.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely glad that you actually got that chance to, wrestle in front of a huge crowd. And I hope you get more opportunities like that. I hope you get to. I'll say this: you say you were in the Air Force. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran as well, so thank you for serving.
Thank you for serving.
Luckily, my first duty station was actually in Sasebo, Japan, which is a great small town. Due to my job of being a hospital corpsman, which is the Navy's version of a medic, a lot of people knew who I was. It was like family over there. But if you ever get bookings over there, I would say take that with a smile and go, because Japan is an awesome place. I got to be there. I got to live there for 3 years, and it was the place where I was my calmest at, compared to New York, where everything's like hustle and bustle. Hey, I gotta be somewhere, get out of the way. This train's moving too slow. Japan is like pretty much the opposite of that, and it just gives you a new sense of honor. So if you ever get, I hope you get that call or that opportunity to wrestle, whether it be Tokyo or Osaka or Fukuoka, which is another great city.
Yeah.
Take that, embrace those orders, take them with a smile, and make memories over there, man, because it is a time to be had over there. I tell any wrestler that. And of course, I'm gonna be the dead horse once again. I probably shouldn't even say that, because now YouTube might shadow ban me. But whenever you go over there, one thing you got to do, make sure you get your Ribera jacket, because it's definitely a rite of passage for most wrestlers. Hulk Hogan has gotten his, John Cena's gotten his, the two of our alumni guests, the Gray brothers, the brothers Gray, have gotten theirs, and I'm pretty sure this other guy, Teriyaki.
Oh yeah,
his too. So yeah, when you get, I hope you get that chance, man. Definitely hope you get that chance.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's one of my destinations for my career.
Yeah. So I just got like, two more questions to ask you, man. So, trios wrestling is a big thing now. AEW has those belts. CMLL has them, AAA has them. Heck, New Japan Pro Wrestling has them now. They call them the open weight championships. If you had to go, if you or Aaron, or you and Aaron, had to go after those tag team titles, who would be your third man?
So for Dallas, that's an easy answer. That's going to be
I think I know who
baby
you're gonna
brother,
choose.
Ethan Dallas.
I knew it. You were gonna. I gotta get that guy.
That one. That was probably the easiest question I could have answered right there. As for Aaron Wade, man, there is a couple of guys that I've really come to like admire in terms of like how they go out there and they do the thing. That one, I would probably, if I had to pick, and this would all entirely be up to if he wanted to go that distance with us. I would probably say like one of my older rivals and mentors in the business, probably Chip Day, probably the Kickmaster Chip Day, like.
Yes, the Mr. Do or Die.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Do or Die himself, Chip Day.
Wow, that sounds like, man, if I saw a guy, if I was standing across from a guy with that name, the nickname Mr. Do or Die, It would be two things. Either I fight for, be prepared to fight for my life, or be like,
Oh
look,
man, like dude,
just take the win. I'm
Chip
out.
Day was one of the guys who brought it out of me when I was coming up, man. Like he took me there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but that sounds like that sounds like a great two great third men to have, Ethan Dallas and Chip Day. Yeah. So my last question, man, before I ask a lot of people this one. So, you have a great, cool entrance theme song by I forgot, it's
It's Knocked Loose. Like
Knock Loose.
currently we're doing Dead Ringer by Knocked Loose.
Dead
Love
Ringer
that
by Knock
song.
Loose.
Banger.
Yeah, definitely makes you want to hit 10 reps real quick, man. My gym playlist is all over the place. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna piss somebody off if I ever get control of the aux in the weight room. But not to digress, what are some songs that are on the Evolved, the product
Okay, so
Duncan
I'll
Avecilla's playlist?
full disclosure, my gym playlist is kind of bipolar. It's all how we're feeling that day. Like I could say I might be able to give you like a top 5 if that's what you're looking for. I'm sorry if my camera's moving all over the place. My phone's about to die on me. I'm just trying to make sure we can keep this going.
Okay.
Man, love like it, working out to like metal. Definitely, like I've got Pantera, I've got Deftones in there. I find myself listening to like a lot of Health right now. Like that's one of the bands that's really in my gym playlist right now. Especially with their new album that they just came out with, the Conflict DLC. Yeah, that just gets me where I need to be. This is gonna this is gonna sound a little stupid, but the training montage from Rocky 4, that particular part
No
on the
Easy Way Out?
soundtrack, like love that score. Like
That's a great one. No Easy Way Out's one of my favorites.
oh my god, dude, yeah, like No Easy Way Out, Hearts on Fire, like that movie probably has my favorite Rocky soundtrack. Like that one probably has the best soundtrack to me. I love obviously listening to like some synthwave. You'll find like a lot of Gunship in my playlists. The Midnight is one that finds my way in there. I also like love listening to a little bit of hip hop when I'm in there. Like the Gorillas find their way into my playlist quite a bit. Like Clint Eastwood, man, love listening to Clint Eastwood. That song gets me pumped when I'm in the gym. I love Run the Jewels. That's a good group to listen to get you pumped up. Like Rubble Kings, Blockbuster Night. And there's like some 80s pop hits in there too. Just if we're doing some cardio, man, like just jamming out to the 80s and the 90s. Yeah, man, like a bit of a bipolar playlist in there.
Yeah. Trust me, don't feel bad. Mine is all over. This is pretty much my gym playlist right here. I don't know if you can see it, but you got stuff by Donna Summer. I think it might be. Yeah, that's my that's my playlist right there. I got stuff by, y'all don't judge me. It just gets me in my mood sometimes. Marky Mark, Good Vibrations.
That's not bad. That's not bad. If that's what gets you through your workout, like I don't think there's like a bad choice in what you listen to while you exercise, man. Like it's one of those, like your flavor of ice cream may not be everyone's favorite flavor of ice cream, but like if you enjoy it, that's the important part,
Yeah. Yeah, I got some like Hollywood Undead on here. One time went into the gym, I heard a guy playing Hollywood Undead. I'm like, bro, turn it up, man. He's like, really? Yeah, bro, turn it up. That's good. That's good stuff, man. you know. I remember one time I went into the gym. This was when I was in. This is like my last duty station. I was on Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, and it was like a gym right not too far from the barracks where I stayed, where I lived in. So used to go over there every day, and whoever got there first got control of the ox. And I don't know how I pulled it off, but I think what happened was I went in there, got control of the ox, started playing my playlist. A couple of guys came in, they were on the weights. I was on the cardio, I was on the stationary bike. But the thing with me is I had my headphone in my ears. So now they're wondering, who's controlling this music? Like, who's playing the ox? And they're asking everybody around there. They didn't ask me because I had because they saw I had my headphones in my ears. They're like, no, it can't be him. He has his headphones on. So they're just trying to find out who's in control of the music. And I'm just there pedaling away, knocking out my cardio and whatnot. So yeah, that's a great, fun story. So, man, I gotta say, Duncan, thank you very much. You were on our list for years. You were on our radar for years. And it's funny how 5 years could fly by. We were like, man, we got to get Duncan Avecilla. Duncan Avecilla. Is it Avecilla or Avecilla?
So like I either pronounce, excuse me, tongue twister. Pronunciation is there's between those two ways that's you can call me Avecilla, you can call me Avecilla. I think Avecilla is like the correct way to pronounce that, but like if you were to call me Avecilla, that'd be fine too. That'd be like it. I've been called just completely different, like it's not even spelled the same way, versions of that name before, but like if you had to call me anything, just either Avecilla or Avecilla.
Okay, because I took Spanish for like 2 semesters, so I know. And if I see a name like that, I'm like, okay, it's Avecilla because you pronounce the V as a B, and the L is like you pronounce the 2 L's as yeah. So it's,
yeah.
That's why I've been pronouncing it as. But Duncan, I got to say, man, you've been on our radar for it was a pleasure to have you on here. You've been on our radar for a hot minute. I remember after we had your dad on, we're like, man, we gotta get Duncan on it, man. That year passes, and then stuff happens. I get out of the Navy, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get Duncan on there. Gotta get Duncan on there. And then I guess finally that voice in my head came off. I was like, yo, forget everybody else. Get DMA on the show now. You need to make it happen like a captain now. It's been too long. You're doing that man an injustice. You had his dad on. You got to have him on now too. So, Duncan, I thank you for your patience,
man. Dude, thank you for having me. I've had a great time on here this evening, man. Like, thank you for letting me onto your platform just to like speak some words, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. So before we shut this show down, man, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out when next appearances, purchase, DMA merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
So if you want to hit me up on the Evolve DMA at Twitter or X, whichever you want to call it, you can find me there. Over on Instagram, you can find me as Duncan Av. That's DUNCANAVE. Please look me up if you excuse me, so fancy. Yeah, those are my 2 socials right there. You could probably find me on Facebook as just Duncan Avecilla if you wanted just to support that way. And for emails, that's Duncanator1998@gmail.com if you're looking to reach out for a booking.
Awesome. So for those of y'all that are listening, he's actually on social media. So make sure you go ahead and give this man a follow. Make sure you check out his matches whenever he's in your town. And if you can't make the matches, another way to support is go ahead and cop that DMA merch. You know what I'm saying? And for those of you that are actually those of you that are now getting into the wrestling business, shameless plug here, this man's father actually makes pro wrestling gear. So feel free to hit up if it's okay with you, Duncan. It's okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you need help getting in touch with my father, by all means, message me. I have no issue with getting my dad business that keeps bread in his mouth. That if you got pen and paper, your phone's right next to you or in front of you, go ahead and follow DD Pro Wrestling Gear on Instagram.
Hey, for those of you that are in Georgia, make sure you get that name down because look at it this way: you're in the same state as him, the same town as dad.
You save a lot on shipping that way, guys. being so real, you save a lot on shipping that way.
Exactly. If you're in the same town, just hop in your car or your electric bike if you got one of those kids these days.
Take a little drive. Take a little Sunday drive. Come see us.
Yeah. So make sure if you're in Georgia, make sure you get that name down. It'll save you a lot. So Duncan, once again, thank you very much. It's great. It was great to have you on. We wish you nothing but the best in your wrestling career. And best believe when we see you back on AEW, best believe when we see you on WWE or TNA or getting that big booking over in the UK, that's another great place. I don't know if you've been there yet. It's another great place to check out. We'll definitely be cheering you on and be like, yo, we just had him on the show. Now he's doing big things overseas or in the big leagues, man. We always enjoy seeing people, work hard and get rewarded. That's pretty much what makes us, smile from ear to ear. So once again, thank you for being on our show. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting a bit heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner and a nap. But maybe not in that particular order. But before I partake in those activities, for those of you that are listening and watching, if you want to follow me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool things, but I do go to a lot of cool places. I should be in Toronto by the end of this month. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at the Remy Blue. You can also follow me on Blue Sky at remyblue.bsky.social. And I'm also on Facebook. Just type in Remy Blue and you'll find me there. But more importantly, our podcast is on social media, right? We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group, and we're also on Spotify. And we're also on, we also have our official merch store, which is at Teespring. It's teespring.com. You can find all of our merch there. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have coffee mugs. We're about to drop our St. Patrick's Day merchandise real soon. We have stuff for Valentine's Day, and we have stuff for if you live in New Orleans and love some wrestling. We have our Mardi Gras. We call it Big Easy Living. Our merch that we dropped that merchandise last year as well. So all that you can find on Teespring, and best believe all proceeds do not go back into our pockets. They go back into keeping our show afloat. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where you can see great interviews like this one, like the one we had with Duncan's dad, the owner of DD Pro Wrestling Gear, and many other great men and women in professional wrestling. You can find those interviews on YouTube, and to see them, it's really easy. It's not rocket science. It's not even pre-algebra. Just go on YouTube and type in, listen really carefully, Ringside Society. That's right. And once you see that really good-looking dark blue and light blue yin-yang sign with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. With that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in live tonight. Thank you very much. To those of you that are going to listen later on when you get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And to those of you that hate us, can't stand us, grit your teeth, and really and truly wish we would just go away, well, like myself at the Golden Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. With that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very well and aware. We see it. We get it. Everybody and their grandparents and the parents of a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. So with that being said, I'm going to say it one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for the great folks at Nightmare Factory, and one time for the product, the evolved Duncan Mitchell Avecilla DMA. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. We'll be back tomorrow with another impressive guest, another impressive episode. But until then, we just have 4 favors for you. I swear, it's just 4. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and enjoy wrestling. We out. Peace.